That's James's dinner. Banana, and that's mine with that as a dressing. We're going to talk a little bit about why insects matter, and let's see what else we have down here. That. So, lots of stuff. And, oh boy, that's no good with the sun there. Let's see if I can get this better. There we go. Maybe, oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. There we go. You're going to have to cuddle over even closer maybe. It's as close as I can get over here. And let's see. Yeah, because there's lots of sun this morning.
Well,
so
it's going to rise.
Anyway, I'm going to read my poem Clouds first. And I wrote this yesterday. We walked as it began to rain in Alexander Wilderness. It's wild we're getting rain again. You'd think there'd be a muddy mess. The puddles from a day or two ago will dry 2 days from now. They'll leave reminders though, that's true. That cloud will pass soon anyhow. Today, a cloud of males passed by, far grayer than the rain clouds were. Next week, I hear, is hot and dry. But I'll still think of rain, I'm sure. With every new mosquito bite, I'll think of all this rain, all right. So, there you go. I mean, lots of water like this, and you got to make sure you get around and dump out all the water. And if you have, like, even if it keeps being wet and relatively warm, then even a boot print, mosquitoes the larva could live in that, and then, right, a couple days from now it could pupate and you'll have little whatever. But as it is, I think this is the last of our rain, and then we're getting a lot of heat, big heat, so 30s. So it won't be like a boot print wouldn't do it. Maybe a tire rut. But you might get some tumblers a couple days from now. The pupa. They do somersaults in the puddles. So anyway, but yeah, if you're really on top of things and go around your yard now that the rain is done and it's nice and sunny, and dump out whatever water you find and fill in ruts and stuff like that, or your yard won't be as fun to be hanging around in for June and maybe July. So it's really, it pays to stay on top of things with mosquitoes. So anyway, I'm going to read a little bit of my notes from Why Insects Matter, and we'll see if that starts a conversation here or whatever. Dragonflies have bubble heads. They turn almost 360 degrees, and they have compound eyes that are round, and so they can see everywhere. So their ommatidia are specialized and relay messages to the wings, so they see something and they can go right away. So they're really good predators. So 75 to 97% success rate at catching prey midair. Impressive. And dragonfly larvae will eat mosquitoes and many other things, including tadpoles, because the larvae of dragonfly, like mosquitoes, they're in the water, right? And then they come up together. So
I wonder how they do that. They say Donald Trump's been squawking about getting Star Wars done, even while he's talking about cutting the military.
I wore two.
But the idea behind that is catching stuff in midair. Maybe they should look
really?
at that. You were saying that was dragonflies?
Yeah, dragonflies.
Maybe it's their eyes. Who knows?
It's pretty impressive. Well, it's not only that, right? They can relay messages to the wings and stuff. They're just designed for it. They're just little. They're awesome predators. So, rubber fly's venom is found in the thorax. Mystax, like a mustache, is only found in rubber flies. They look like dragonflies with a protective mustache. Maybe it's robber flies. See, my writing is kind of messy. I write while I'm watching, so. Dracula ant's jaws, 200 miles per hour in 0.000015 seconds, something like that. They really move fast. Their mandibles look like glasses arms. Bivouac in a fallen log is where many army ants live. They stay at one site for 3 weeks. The emergence of new adults triggers a change and a search for a new bivouac.
I think you said
Bivouac.
Big bivouac.
Oh, that's it, right.
It's like a camping place, right?
Oh. Ant birds follow army ant swarms. The ants are natural pest control agents. They swarm through an area or home, clean out all the cockroaches and other insects, then leave. So you actually want them to do it, right? You just stand back and let them do their job. Ant lions larvae are called doodlebugs. Doodlebugs makes pits, which they wait at the bottom of. Ants fall into pits. Trap jaw ants can snap jaws to launch themselves out of antline pits, which is cool. Because I guess they snap so fast, they can go boing, just get right back out of there.
We didn't have those in Africa.
Oh.
We had ant lines, and in places where it was sandy, they'd built these little inverted conical pits.
Oh, and I should mention that the cloud that I was talking about, the gray cloud swarm, the males, that's the male mosquitoes. They come out first, and normally they come. You know that they're males because they have it looks like feathers, like fluffy out of the front of their face rather than a needle, right? So the males don't bite you. I just wanted to mention that. I just thought of that right now. And usually they'll just wait above the pool for the females to come out right away, right? Well, did I make you feel bad interrupting?
I even forgot what I said.
Ant lines.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Fungus gnat larvae make glowing string of pearls that hang down. They're insect traps. Look pretty cool. Glowworms glow to attract prey, and glowworms are flies. Fireflies are beetles, and they glow to attract mates. So that's funny. Plants get galls, usually formed around insects, common in rose, daisy, and oak families. Tend to be host specific. Goldenrod gets spindle-shaped gall and round gall, and 43% reduction in seed production when they get those. Anyway, grape phylloxera, leaf galls, where they lay eggs in the roots, the plant dies. Ink made from insect galls, mostly from oak.
Yeah.
Well, now there's synthetics.
Out in Sterling, we had a acreage kind of like up there, and it was weird. It was on willow trees, as I recall. They were almost more like shrubs. Anyway, it wasn't on that list.
Oh.
There was.
Many gall-forming insects have no anus. They store their waste internally so their galls aren't polluted. Cinnamid wasp galls on oak trees are often host to parasitic wasps themselves. I should mention that would be while they're in the gall, right? It's just that's their larval stage, and then they emerge, and then they would be able to release their waste. And they wouldn't just store it forever, I'm sure. I don't know if he was clear about that. Phorid flies parasitize worker ants. When mature, they move from thorax to head, causing the ant's head to fall off. Creepy. Tomato...
Now, what's the advantage to the fly of that? I guess it's used the thing, but why would the head fall off?
I don't know. That's
does it
just
eat
how
on
it
the
gets
head?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Just wondering. Things usually make sense.
To be really creepy, yeah. Tomato hornworm are hawk moth larvae, and I guess there's tobacco hornworm too. When they have white ovals on them, those are wasp larvae. The pupal stage is outside on the hornworm's body. A single caterpillar can be a host to 300 parasitic wasps before they kill it. Wild, hey? But the wasps are really small. Fairy wasps lay their eggs in the egg of other insects. Parasitoids kill the host. Parasites don't. Human botfly enter the host through a mosquito hole left after you're bitten. So he's saying if you have a mosquito bite that doesn't seem like it's healing, you might want to look closely at that. Global biomass of termites is equal to humans. Queen termite lay an egg every 3 seconds and live 20 years. Worker can be either male or female.
Wow.
Young termites can be workers. They're not helpless. They eat dead things like wood. Termites eat nest mates' anal secretions. Freezing clothes overnight kills clothes moths. Mothballs, naphthalene, is carcinogenic. Birds and bats have wings that are modified limbs. The wings on insects aren't modified limbs. Dragonflies hold wings perpendicular when resting, so they, right? And damselflies hold them back, so they have their wings back like that. Mayflies also hold them back, well, and up, right? Back. Anyway, crane flies look like dragonflies, but have only 2 wings because they're diptera, actual flies. Crane flies don't eat mosquitoes. They're not predators. They have halteres, sensory organs that help them fly. Flies evolved from insects with 4 wings. Halteres are modified wings that are no longer wings. Insects adapted to aquatic life. Spiracles are holes that insects breathe through. The air goes into tracheals. We too have a branching system of tubes that oxygen moves through. Airflow can be controlled by closing some spiracles and opening others. I didn't know that. Oxygen in us is carried by hemoglobin. They rely on diffusion to carry oxygen. They don't have lungs or hemoglobin. Insects can choke to death on their food. Insects are more efficient at getting O2 and CO2 out, O2 in and CO2 out. Water scorpion have siphons at the end of their abdomen and look like scorpion tails. They don't sting, but can bite. Rat-tailed maggot have very long siphons. Predaceous diving beetles hold an air bubble at the tip of their abdomen. Rifle beetles have a plastron air bubble on entire underside of body due to hydrophobic hairs there. They live in swiftly flowing water. Dragonfly nymphs have internal gills, with a damselfly nymphs have external gills. Bloodworm midge larvae use hemoglobin to bind to O2. If you see a breathing tube sticking out of a mosquito bite that won't heal, you're a host to a botfly. Insect sounds. Most crickets are right-winged. Cricket have a part of their wing called the harp that amplifies sounds. Insects are ectotherms, get heat from the environment. Colder temperature makes chirps at a slower rate. So if you have 15 chirps, and then you add 40, then you know that the temperature is 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you add 40 to the number of chirps in 13 seconds, then you get the temperature. Tympanum eardrum is located on the on the foreleg of katydid. Insects have ears on their legs that they use for hearing sound. Parasitic fly doesn't have them on legs. Cicada, Hemiptera, true bug. Oh, that's what I was writing. Timbal, cover plates, and muscle that vibrate equals clicking. Cicadas that emerge every 17 years can be induced to emerge after 16 years if peaches were induced to bloom twice in the 15th year. So cicadas must be getting info from the environment, they think. Hissing cockroaches force air through spiracles. Insects as farmers. Leafcutter ants can't digest the leaves. They harvest, so they keep fungi around and feed the leaves to them. Then the ants eat the fungi. Larval ants eat only the fungi. Lower atine ants, of which there are many species, grow fungi which can grow on their own. Higher atine ants, like leafcutter ants, grow fungi that can no longer grow without the help of the ants. The fungi only grows within the ant colony. Weird, eh? Yeah. Ambrosia beetles, termites. It was very interesting to listen to because he was talking about how, like, the young queen will carry some of the fungi. I think it's in her mouth or something, and then so when she starts a colony, she has this fungi. So it's like it's been going on they've been farming the same thing for years and years, and I've talked about it with my tomatoes, how it's wonderful to keep the same plants, like this plant here in this yogurt container that you can probably see there, which they're great for plant pots. That plant, I have kept its mother and its grandmother, and and so it's wonderful to keep living with the things that you grow. I think it's
like a family.
It's like a family, their family, right? So anyway, ambrosia beetles, termites, and ants all farm fungi. Ants also farm aphids. Some will carry the eggs into their nest to protect them, then bring the aphids back out in the spring. Isn't that cute? So the ant taps the aphid with her antennae, and the aphid supplies a drop of honeydew.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Darkling beetles produce mealworms. Female mealworms have 10 chromosomes, male have 9 chromosomes. One of them is really short, and he talked about genetics there.
Amazing.
And he talked about there are biothorax mutant fruit flies. That was kind of interesting. They have an extra set of wings. And Antennapedia fruit flies, they have legs on their heads instead of antennae. Weird. All animals have Hox genes. Some mutations in Hox genes are linked to cancer, while others affect how certain body parts, hands, reproductive system, etc. develop. Butterfly represents the soul. Psyche, goddess of soul, has butterfly wings. Bees represent the Virgin Mary. They don't mate. Both worker ants and bees are always females. Spiders are arachnids, not insects. Web spinners produce silk from their front pair of legs, whereas spiders produce silk from their abdomen. Weaver ants form living bridges. Ladders form ladders, but fire ants don't do this. So he was talking about, fire ants do form a living raft to float in floods. He was talking about the last disc. I didn't find it interesting. Well, I found the one lesson on the last disc, the first one interesting. Insects at farmers. But he was talking about insects in art, literature, and film, collecting insects, which, creepy. Why? Just take pictures of them. The disappearing insects, because you keep collecting them. Take pictures. Sharing planet Earth with insects. Okay, yeah, by taking pictures of them. Stop collecting them, you morons. I know you like the look of butterflies. They're very pretty. But take a picture. Get a camera and take a picture. There's wonderful cameras out there now. You don't have to go collecting insects. Ugh. So it was kind of creepy watching this anyway. For like a lot of the time I was watching it and thinking, well, you know, with you guys looking after things, like he has he teaches ecology, evolutionary biology, and scientific communication. And I thought, you know, looking at these guys to save ecology and whatever, it's like you have guys, he's talking about the experiments. This one guy, he painted whiteout on the eyes of this insect to see if da-da-da-da and whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Did he take the whiteout off?
How could he?
I know.
You know, like, and another guy, he glued the jaws of this, the snapping, the trap jaw thing, shut to see if he could, they wanted to know, like, different things that have been discovered by people 100 years ago, 200 years ago. They're like, we want to see if this is really it. Yeah, exactly. We want to prove this, even though like this guy figured it out a long time ago. But since these guys aren't creative at all, they know a lot of things, but they don't have the sense to come up with something new. They're just really parasitizing off of what has already been discovered way long ago, and they're making a career of it. And they're doing creepy things like, we're gonna spray this one plant with this insecticide or cut all the leaves off or whatever and see how it. Why are you doing that? Nature is already having a tough time, and
the Germans have a word
the
for
disappearing insects,
big long lumpy word. Kleinigkeit. So Kleinigkeit is trinkets. Crema is a seller. Sellers of trinkets, peddlers of trinkets, really. And that's what too many academics are, especially when you consider how much money, once they get hired, they're getting. Do some... Going
on junkets all over the world and stuff.
That's on top of all the stupid stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a reason why a lot of working people, actual working people, don't like academics.
There are many reasons.
There are many reasons. But anyway, so I love the great courses, and I love this one. So even though I was creeped out by some things about it, and honestly I thought the fourth disc he might have just had 3 discs instead of 4. The 4th disc was really boring for me. And I can't imagine it wouldn't be for everyone. But anyway, still, there's a lot of information in here, and it's really interesting watching this, learning all about it. And the book is great, just in case you want to go through both. I was going through both at the same time. But anyway, that's all I really had to say about that. We have a big stack here to go through, and I don't know if I'll get a chance to eat my salad, but I can tell you right away, this makes awesome salad dressing. So I don't know how healthy it is, a sour salad dressing, and I was thinking, it'd be really good with crumbled chips on top. But lately I've been having some problems with my diet. So
what I'll say about a salad dressing or dip, it's not really important unless you've got more dip in the salad.
Yeah.
The important thing is look at all this healthy stuff here.
Yeah. And
if unless you got cancer like me, if you put a little bit of extra on to help the greens and whatever go down, I don't see a problem. Particularly if you're into sensible physical exercise, you're going to burn the stuff off.
And I know by the end of the summer we're going to be eating very healthy. So,
tomatoes are awesome.
As long as we don't get hailed out or something like that. You never
Things
know,
happen,
right?
you know,
Things happen.
Better be ready.
So I'm going to talk about the Salisbury Poisonings, which I gave top of the stack. It's based on true events. This happened in March 2018. Crazy story, and very important. Even though I loved young Werther and loved seeing Scott Thompson, again, this was great. But it's fiction and Canadian content, yay, but honestly, this is way more important. So this was put out by AMC Studios, and it's a BBC TV thing. And
About
usually,
the only thing I've ever seen them produce that actually
matters. Yeah. So anyway, what a story. Based on true events. They talked to, they got first-hand accounts, and they went by extensive interviews and stuff, and they came up with this. And I think that's why it works so well, is that they had a lot of information from a lot of people, and they showed the real people at the end. So, yeah, just wild story about, it was a nerve agent attack on a Russian double agent and his daughter, and it's so freaky because you know what's going to happen, and you see at the beginning, you know, the crowd around trying to help these 2 people, and you're like, oh no, right? Because you know, and but they don't at the time, they don't know. And so this is not a documentary, it's reenactment, right? But it's really well done, and the actors were all really great, and the story is told really well. So it's just crazy. I don't really want to give it away because you gotta watch it. It's so important. So I don't know if James is going to talk about
there's
this.
Lots of different kind of bad guys. There are really bad guys like Putin and the Russian follow-up to the KGB. I don't know if they've bothered giving it back its old name. But there are also bad guys who are just bad because they're stupid.
Yeah. So we might talk about this a little bit later, but we'll give a spoiler alert first so that you can watch it first, because it's worth watching. Young Werther. So,
is that what they call them, Werther?
Yeah. So
it's a German name. It's Werther, actually. It's
okay.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
No, this is Canadian. So
well, you see, it's based on a thing written by Goethe.
Oh.
It's what made his name and fame. I guess it was a novel, The Sorrows of Young Werther. They can call it whatever they want, so I'm not laughing at you. That's why I asked. You know, is that
well, maybe they did this because he's a Canadian in this, and whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, very good story. It's one of those Hollywood romance sort of things where it doesn't turn out like a Hollywood romance. So in Hollywood romances you have, I saw this woman across the room and it was love at first sight, and I mean, you don't know anything about her, and then they have this fast, passionate romance and it ends in, oh, it's gonna last forever, and it's like, okay, that's not real life. But anyway, so
some people try to make it real life. Fact is, way too many people try to make it real life.
Yeah, so this actually works out well. and it seems believable, and the characters say witty things, and it's really enjoyable to watch. Exactly. How could you not love it?
Maybe say more. Yeah.
Oh, Canada. So this one has Richard Gere and what's her name? Oh,
Julia Roberts?
No, Uma Thurman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And honestly, it was really boring.
Why are they appropriating
It's based
our
on
name?
a true thing or whatever. This is about Oh, Canada is among Paul Schrader's best films, Free and Furious, blah, blah, blah. It's about a guy who, he was a filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker, and he ended up leaving well, I think it's based on the true stories anyway, but I don't know. Anyway, it seems like it is, but it seems boringly so. And it's Canadian content too. It's about a guy who he escaped the draft and came to Canada and became a successful documentary filmmaker.
Like in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. So, but boring. So boring.
Yeah. Canada is kind of boring. That's one of the major attractions.
That's why we love it.
Aside from the scenery and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No?
And that's how life should be.
We basically don't have a history because we even actually
a lot of people have
with our natives that we kind of kept.
A lot of it's war, right? We don't have a lot of that. We're a pretty good bunch of people, really. So when you look at the world,
you kind of helped out in World War I, World War II, the Boer War. Newsflash: the real bad guys were the Boers. The British weren't very nice.
Which was how I ended up being born on a farm, or well, not on the farm. I was born in a hospital. They had to drive to it. But anyway, is because my grandpa and grandma, they because of the Veterans Land Act, they got land. So
and that was from World War II.
Yeah, because my grandma, her first husband died in the war, and she was left with 2 young daughters. That must have been tough. So then she was working in a factory, and my grandpa was also working in a factory, and then they met, and I guess it was one of those Hollywood romances that actually did work out. A friend came over to my grandma, and my grandma was already ready for bed. She had her hair in rollers, and she put on her babushka, and she went over to, her friend was like, you gotta meet this guy. He's so handsome and stuff, right? And so she brought my grandma over. My grandma was just smitten with him. And of course she would be. I mean, you saw pictures of him. He was very handsome. And she was lovely too. And so they lived happily ever after. She got, back then the government gave quarter section of land each to veterans. And so my grandma got, and my grandpa got. Yeah. Right?
Half a section.
And even though he had shrapnel near his spine and his finger was munched up pretty good from working in the factory, he